What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. Happy Friday. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. I'm taking today to remind people, if you are on the fence or haven't yet, I hope today will be the day to earn your subscription. There's a little red button down below. I know it might not seem like a big thing to you, but if people stop subscribing, then YouTube stops recommending my videos, and they already hardly do that the way it is. And, you know, I'm hoping that you'll see that I've earned it. So please do consider leaving a like on the video and also subscribing. Joe Rogan has been a hot topic on this channel. As you know, I still believe that he is an arbiter for free speech, even though, you know, he's made some poor decisions. I still understand the dollars and cents of Joe Rogan taking $100 million and then, you know, not bringing over, I don't know what it's, 45 episodes or something like that of his old show. I understand why he did these things 100%. And I don't judge him as a man for them. The only problem I ever really had with Joe was him just lying to us, saying, oh, they're just my favorite episodes, so I'm going to leave them up on YouTube. Like, bruh, you knew. Joe Rogan knew that Spotify told him to not bring those episodes over, and then he just lied to us. And then he doubled down on that lie. And then later when he came out, he's like, yeah, so what? They said I couldn't have them. No big deal. I'm like, dude, okay. Like, a section of your audience is just like meathead dudes that don't care about, you know, free speech. But a huge section of them are also people like me who are clearly not meatheads and do care about these types of things. And it's a big reason I respected you. So I didn't love that response, but it doesn't invalidate everything the guy's ever said. And he had a great take on CNN the other day, saying that they're not even human. Joe Rogan slams effing terrible CNN hosts. Everybody knows they're not real. They're not humans. In a viral outburst Thursday, podcast king Joe Rogan tore into CNN's fake journalist Brian Stelter, international newsreader Don Lemon, declaring, "The market has spoken and your shows are effing terrible." Rogan was discussing CNN's appalling ratings drop since President Trump left office, noting Brian Stelter's show keeps slipping and slipping and slipping in the ratings, same with international newsreader Don Lemon. They didn't even understand the way they were describing it, Rogan noted, adding, they were describing it as if they're entitled to viewers. They were saying, there are people on YouTube right now that get more views than this show. Even knows they're not real. Everyone knows they're not real. They're not real humans, Rogan asserted. Well, you know, ultimately, here's the thing. And it's not just CNN. Like, I know that it's easy to dunk on the garbage tank that is CNN. But, you know, and maybe some people feel like, look, I've got to get some news, so I watch what I think is the least bias. Maybe that's Fox. Maybe that's MSNBC. Maybe that's your local. They all have some level of bias. I'm not saying it's awful to consume CNN. But if you're watching it, you should know that it's being presented in a way that is, you know, slanted. If you're watching Fox News, it isn't like Fox News didn't have its own controversies, as we just saw one of their local reporters came out to Veritas saying that she wasn't allowed to talk about a particular pharmaceutical because Donald Trump mentioned it in a positive light. I mean, it's just, it's weird. Like, mainstream news media has obvious bias, and it'd be one thing if they would admit it, but they don't. A lot of news people that I watch on YouTube have obvious biases as well, but in general, people try to admit them. You know, for me, I admit, you know, I probably still, you know, on financial issues, I'm very conservative. On like human rights issues, I'm very libertarian, or even liberal, you know, more libertarian than liberal. But like, I just want to be left alone by the government. I think most people can understand that. I want to pay as few taxes as possible, and I want the government to stay out of my life and everyone else's. Make sure the roads work, protect our borders, and then F off. You know, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. So if I'm watching some news, maybe it'll be Fox, but I also know that they take money from, you know, the CDC to run commercials, and they, you know, if you go down that hole, there's a lot to know. Anyway, Rogan's guest commentator Kyle Kulinski chimed in, noting that Stelter is constantly outright calling for censorship, while claiming that he's fighting against the spread of, quote, conspiracy theories. Kulinski proclaimed that the hosts use that for effing anything, Rogan also pointed out that Stelter's recent embarrassing fawning interview with White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, noting that Stelter literally asked her how he could be a better reporter. How about Brian Stelter talking to the press secretary saying, how about him talking to the press secretary saying, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Like, hey, MFer, you're supposed to be a journalist, Rogan said. They're obviously being told a certain amount of what to do, Rogan added, noting that maybe he'd be an interesting guy if he had his own effing podcast, that you can rely on your own personality and be himself. I don't know. I can't imagine doing that gig. Well, it's because they're paid shills. New York Post, another right-leaning website, of course, picking up the same story. For me, I want my viewers to know that I'm not endorsing Fox News. I think that they do just as much slimy stuff. Well, probably not as much. CNN's the worst. Okay, CNN's garbage. Don't watch CNN. MSNBC is also garbage. You probably shouldn't watch that either. But anyway, Fox News is also not just this thing that you can automatically trust. Joe Rogan savages Brian Stelter's show, Brian Stelter and his terrible effing show. I mean, yeah, I get it. They're not entitled to viewers. And the thing is, you know, you see here, while he did mention it, did not mention his tirade, Rogan may have been counterpunching, though, to Stelter for attacking him on his CNN show when he suggested that the podcaster's attack on woke culture were just to grow his audience. I mean, yeah, of course it is. He remembers that. You see this, Stelter, Rogan's woke culture complaint could be a ploy to grow his audience. I mean, okay. So essentially, Joe Rogan is, you know, Brian Stelter called Joe Rogan a liar, essentially, a grifter. But, you know, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, they're awful. You can never be woke enough. That's the problem. It keeps going, Rogan said. It keeps going further and further down the line until you get to a point where you capitulate and you agree to all these demands. It eventually gets where straight white men are not allowed to talk because it's your privilege to express yourself when other people of color have been silenced throughout history. He's not wrong. It'll be you're not allowed to go outside the podcaster side because so many people were imprisoned for so many. And the guest comedian Joe List started to laugh. Rogan said, I'm not joking. It really will get there. It's crazy. Stelter criticized the podcaster's comments. I mean, look, Joe Rogan has come a long way from eating roaches on Fear Factor, but he's still good at making people shriek. He went on, it's an awakening of our racial and social justice to some, but an overreaction to others. What is consequence culture for some is cancel culture to others. These arguments from the likes of Rogan, Bill Maher, and Tucker Carlson are worth analyzing because these issues sway voters, said Stelter, pointing to Rogan's sizable podcast audience. It's because Brian Stelter is afraid. I mean, this channel right here, there are many days of the week that more of you tune in than he gets on CNN. And I can't, you know, this will be my last video on Friday. I don't know if I'm going to work Saturday or take the day off, but, you know, I'm just so thankful for all of you. I want to end this video. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for subscribing if you haven't yet, or if my plea today made you. Thank you for always interacting in the comments and leaving likes and participating on Twitter with topic suggestions. I couldn't be more thankful for all of you. I couldn't be happier to be doing this. And I know that the window is small to stay relevant on YouTube. And I've probably overstayed my welcome already. I'm on borrowed time. But I mean, as long as you all will keep having me, I'll keep grinding for you. And I'm thankful for you. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.